Good evening, folks, and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we're going to walk through a simple IFR flight from my home airport of El Monte, California to Camarillo, California. Should be about a 45 minute flight. I'll try to basically show like the entire flight. We're going to ask for what's called tower en route control, which is essentially a way by which you can essentially go from one airport to another in high traffic areas where the FAA has published these so-called tower en route control routes, where you don't go to center but you stay within sort of the SoCal airspace itself. So we're going to call up tower. We're going to ask for tower en route to Camarillo. So we don't really need to file an IFR flight plan. We will put that into our GTN750 GPS. I have this set up with a dual Garmin G5, the GTN750, and we will essentially fly this flight and see how that goes. All right, let's get started then. I'm already connected to the PilotEdge network. Now it's time for us to kind of get started here. All right, let's get the battery on. You can see the G5's firing up. We got the battery up. Let's get the engine going. Okay, engine's going. We could see that the oil pressure is in the green, which is good. We don't have to shut the engine off. The alternator on, get the batteries on, get the beacon on, and we're kind of ready with most of our stuff. Obviously I have a little bit of an issue here with my OBS window actually showing up, so give me 1 second here and I'm going to fix that. So we'll get our, all right, put this back on top. Okay. And so, okay, so just so you guys can see what my setup looks like, you're seeing the front view from my nose right now. And then this is what my panel looks like. I use Air Manager widget with a touchscreen panel, and it has a dual G5 setup with some of the primary instruments on the right hand side. And then I've got another panel which is essentially my GTN750 GPS, a simple Bendix King, COM2 NAV2, and the S-Tech Autopilot on the second panel. Fairly typical GA setup. I mean, the more common GA setup still tends to be a GNS 430 or a GNS 530 GPS. I just went a little more with a GTN 750 because I hate to basically be turning knobs all the time. And then finally, we've got ForeFlight showing along with our two radio panels in this last window. Okay, so now that we've got all of this set up, let's go back to our main window. Let's tune the ADIS here on, we've got 118.75, so I'm basically going to go get the ADIS.
ATIS information November 0147 Zulu, wind 200 at 8, visibility 7. Sky condition, clear. Temperature T1, 2.13. Altimeter 29 array 2. Arriving and departing runway 19er. Visual approaches in use. Read all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information November.
Circle approach, Turkey 350, whiskey level 5 now.
El Monte Airport, ATIS information November 0147 Zulu, wind 200 at 8, visibility 7. Sky condition, clear. Temperature T1, 2.13. Altimeter 29 array 2. Arriving and departing runway 19er. Visual approaches in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information November.
Okay, so we have information November here. It was a little noisy because we've got all of the other communication going on here inside of PilotEdge, which honestly, if you think about it, is actually really cool because it feels pretty much like you're in the environment, and I really enjoy that. Anyway, I took down the ADIS. Let's get the, I'm going to get the the altimeter set here. So I've got it set to 2982, which is about right, showing about 300 there. And then I'm going to now call up El Monte ground and ask for a tower en route clearance to Camarillo. So before I do that, I'm going to bring up a clearance scratch pad on my iPad. Let's switch to the ForeFlight window so that you can see what it is that I'm taking down, and let's go give our call out. So we've got 125.9 on the primary, which is what we want for El Monte ground. El Monte ground, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, requesting tower en route to Camarillo.
November 168 Yankee San Luis Tower, straight out departure approved, runway 29er cleared for takeoff.
Straight out departure, runway 29er cleared for takeoff, 168 Yankee.
Aircraft calling El Monte, you stepped on someone, go ahead.
This is 285 Charlie Romeo requesting tower en route to Camarillo. We're a Cessna 172 slant Golf.
November 285 Charlie Romeo cleared to the Camarillo Airport via the runway 19er optical departure procedure to Paradise, Victor 186 Fillmore, direct. Climb and maintain 3000, expect 6000 in 10 minutes. Departure frequency 135.4, squawk 1665.
Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo is cleared to the Camarillo Airport via the San Gabriel Valley runway 19er obstacle departure procedure, Paradise, Victor 186, Fillmore, direct. Climb and maintain 3000, expect 6000 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 135.4 and squawk 1665.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, read back correct.
Okay, so we got a readback going. Let's now squawk what we needed to squawk, which was 1665. I'm going to put it back in altitude reporting mode. So we now have our transponder working, and it's squawking 1665. We have our flight plan, so let's go ahead and enter our flight plan. So basically, we're going to go from the El Monte Airport to Paradise. Now, the actual departure procedure requires you to follow the Paradise 098 course, or the 278 radial, the 098 course, but we're going to kind of fudge it a little bit, just using the GPS to go from El Monte to Paradise, which is very close to the 098. I think it's a 100 radial, 100 course going to Paradise. So let's get that in there. I'm going to get a few intermediate points in there, into my GPS, and so let's go ahead and put that in. And in fact, while we're doing that, let's go ahead and so while we're doing that, let me bring up the Victor Airways and the IFR route here on ForeFlight, so we kind of know what we're looking at. All right, so we're going from El Monte down to Paradise, which I can't really seem to see, but let's get a flight plan in here. KEMT to Paradise, Victor 186 to Fillmore, and then to the Camarillo Airport. Okay, so we got that in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to basically show you guys how we're going to go from El Monte to Paradise, and then what Victor 186 looks like. So let's get a few points in here. I'm going to get Tiffany, Adam, Piro, and then Perms and Darts, as well as Van Nuys VOR, which is all Victor 186. So the Van Nuys VOR, and then the Fillmore VOR, which was our last point. So let's get that in here. All right, so we've got Paradise. Now we're going to get Tiffany into our GPS. Adam, Piro. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Piroc, it was Piro. So let's remove that. And let's add in P-I-R-R-O, Piro. Then we'll get perms in there. And then we'll get darts. And it'll always ask you which darts you want. The Van Nuys VOR. And then the Fillmore VOR. And then let's do KCMA for Camarillo. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to load a procedure. I'm going to basically ask for the runway 26 obstacle, the runway 26 approach, the GPS approach. And I'm trying to decide which GPS approach to use, so let's just make sure that I can use the GPS Zulu approach, which is what I really want because it includes an LPV approach, which is kind of nice since you get a really good glide slope going in. And no special requirements for this. So let's get the Zulu LPV approach. And we will ask for transition from Suwana, which seems like the right place to do it. And we'll load that approach as well. So we now have our plan as well as the approach loaded. And if you go back to the map here on the GPS, you can see that it's all there. Okay, so we got our flight plan into the GPS. I've got my flight plan loaded into ForeFlight, and I think we are ready to go since we now have we had information Bravo. So while we're at it, might as well just get it again. Let's just get the ATIS again. So let's make sure information November. I'm sorry. So let's get the
temperature 21, dew point 13, altimeter 29 or rate 2, arriving and departing runway 19er. Visual approaches in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information November.
Okay, we're still on November. By the way, while we're doing all of that, let's get El Monte Tower into the standby here on the GPS unit on my comm, and let's go look for Camarillo. Camarillo, the Zulu. I want to add that to my binder, and let's look for their ATIS, and their ATIS is 126.025. So let's go put that in there. 126.025 there, and let's just make that the primary on COM2, so I at least have that. We're all set now, and I'm gonna make sure that my so we're all set. We're showing 014 here. Array 2. El Monte Ground, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo at North Transient Parking. Taxi for takeoff with information November.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, El Monte Ground, runway 19er, taxi via Alpha Bravo.
Runway 19er, taxi via Alpha Bravo, 285 Charlie Romeo. Okay, so we got our taxi clearance. Let's get our strobes on, and actually let's just get our taxi and landing lights on, and our nav light. It's kind of starting to get dark here, and let's go. I think it's about time I go. Just like I did the last time, I'm going to skip the run-up because, well, it's a flight sim, and right now I have no failures programmed in, so I think I should be okay. All right, cool. You know, the one thing I hate about this G5 Skyhawk is I got this from the folks at, I guess, X Aviation or whatever, and the problem with it is that I can't use the Zinc plug-in bridge, which gives me much higher frame rates. So I apologize if this thing is a little choppy. I think the next time onwards, I'll just try to use the Skyhawk G1000 version. Not too happy with that one, just because it's not a very typical like GA configuration, especially like not a typical GA training airplane configuration. But you know, what the heck, right? At least I can get better frame rates out of using the Zinc plug-in bridge. I actually will probably get double the frame rate if I use Zinc. And I would really like to do that so that the animation and the playback is a little smoother. But for now, we get about 22-ish frames per second. It's good enough. I think we can live, we can survive. Sounds like
approach, Turkey 3 Thunder Whiskey, still on heading 110. I'm not sure where I'm going here.
November 3539 Whiskey, roger. Vectors localizer, runway 27 approach.
All right, expecting the localizer 27 approach, 3 Thunder Whiskey.
It's a really gorgeous day here in Southern California. I mean, I live in Southern California, and I could tell you that the weather's been just awesome today. It's a little warmer, but you know, if you live in SoCal, you get used to that. Okay, so we are very close to the runway. Let's just hold before the runway, make sure we got everything set up. I'm making that assumption, obviously, that I finished my run-up and everything was checked out fine. All right, so I'm holding short of the runway. I'm gonna switch to El Monte Tower. I'm gonna get 135.4 in my backup for the departure frequency there, and I have my, well, I'll get my strobe. So lights, my carb heat is off, camera, and then action. So let's call and ask for our takeoff clearance. El Monte Tower, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, holding short 19er, ready for IFR release to Camarillo.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, runway 19er, clear for takeoff, wind 200 at 8.
Runway 19er cleared for takeoff, 285 Charlie Romeo. Okay, and the departure procedure out of El Monte requires you to essentially go, actually, while we're doing this, I'm gonna set something up. Sorry, I should have done this before. This is me not being planned. Okay, I had to set the heading bug, but anyways. So the departure procedure out of El Monte basically requires you to go a heading of 1901 to 1500 feet, and then a climbing left turn to a heading of 068 to intercept the 278 radial to Paradise or the 098 course to Paradise. Okay, lined up on the runway, everything's looking good. I have my mixture full rich. Let's go. A little bit of right rudder there to keep the aircraft on the center line. So far so good. A little less right rudder there. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, we're about 60-ish, starting to rotate there, and we're off. Just a little bit to the left there.
San Luis Tower, Skyhawk 168 Yankee, about 10 miles northwest of the field at 2000, inbound with Lima.
November 168 Yankee, San Luis Tower, enter left downwind, runway 29er, report midfield.
Runway 29er, left downwind, will report midfield, 168 Yankee.
Okay, we're a little bit to the left, of course. Let's correct back to a heading of 1901, which is what we wanted.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, contact departure.
85 Charlie Romeo to departure. SoCal departure, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, 1100, climbing 3000.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 6,000.
Climb and maintain 6,000, 285 Charlie Romeo. Okay, so we got
November 39er Whiskey, turn
cleared
right
all the
heading
way to
160.
6,000, which is awesome.
160 to the right, 350 Whiskey.
And, you know, we keep our climb going. We're about 1,500. We're at about our 1,500 feet where we need to make our left turn, our climbing left turn. So we'll just give it a few more seconds there, get to 1,500. And then once we're at 1,500, we'll start our left turn to a heading of 068. Okay, we're at 1,500. Let's start a nice little turn here. Try to keep it. Keep that climb going. Keep it going. Coming up on our heading. It's a little steep, my turn there.
November 39er Whiskey, contact SoCal approach 124.35.
Okay.
124.35, 350 Whiskey.
Okay, so we're on our roughly on our heading. We'll get to 068. And if you look down, you can notice that we are kind of intercepting that
Whiskey level
the course to Paradise. You can see there's an intercept there on the HSI. So good.
November 3539er Whiskey, SoCal approach, clear direct to Lindy, cross Lindy at 5,000, cleared localizer, runway 27 approach.
Cleared localizer, runway 27 approach, and cross Windy at 4,000, 353 and a Whiskey.
November 3539er Whiskey, negative, clear direct Lindy, Lima, Yankee, November, Delta, India, cross Lindy at 5,000.
It's Lindy and cross Lindy at 5,000. 350 Whiskey, clear direct Lindy.
November 39er Whiskey, cleared localizer, runway 27 approach.
Cleared localizer 27 approach, 350 Whiskey.
I was wondering why we kept drifting left, and then I realized I didn't have enough right rudder. But anyways, fix that now. All right, so we just keep our climb going. I'm gonna get the autopilot switched on, put in the heading mode so that we hold that heading, and then we'll hold it for a little longer. And as you can see here on the GPS, well, you can't actually see my GPS, but we're kind of getting close to intercepting that 0908 course to Paradise. So we're getting there. In front of us, you can see the beacon just off the left side of the nose. You can see the beacon for Brackett Field, KPOC, which is a nearby field that we generally do most of our practices in. And in the distance on the left-hand side, you can see basically the freeway, the 210 freeway that's going east-west there. And the 57 freeway that's going kind of north-south, and you can see it kind of ending at the 210 on the left-hand side, the bottom left of the screen. Anyways, we're basically on that course that we wanted. We're still maintaining our climb, which is perfect, and you know, we've got another 2,500 feet.
168 Yankee midfield, left downwind, runway 29.
November 68 Yankee, runway 29er, cleared to land.
Runway 29, cleared to land, 168 Yankee.
November 5 Charlie Romeo, turn left direct Elmo, remote navigation.
Turn left, direct Elmo and resume nav, 5 Charlie Romeo. Okay, so he wants me to start a left turn direct to Elmo. Unfortunately, I don't actually have Elmo programmed in here, so I'm just going to start a left turn first. Let's get that going, and then, you know, we'll figure out what's the the best part of our flight plan to go. Okay, so let's go to flight plan. So Elmu is basically between Elmu is basically between it's basically at El Monte, so it's essentially between Piro and Perms, which is good. So let's get that. I'm gonna highlight that leg. I'm gonna activate that leg, and then we'll essentially just tell the GPS to do that. Okay, direct track of 279. Keep that heading turning. And because we actually want to intercept the course, I'm going to basically turn it a little more to the left, so we start an intercept to the course. Seems about right. So if you could see what I'm doing, I'm essentially, if you focus on my cursor, I've got a course set up, and I'm essentially turning so that I intercept that course. And this is going to take me towards Elmo, which is on Victor 186 between Piro and Perms. It's just a little northwest of El Monte Airport. Okay, we got about 500 feet to go on our climb all the way to 6,000, so that's good. Almost there, right? I mean, this is kind of the yesterday I was flying the Cirrus, and you would get to like 6,000 feet in a heartbeat, but then flying the Cessna 172, well, it does take a little bit of effort to get to 6,000 feet. And as we're going along, I'm gradually just leaning the mixture just so we get sort of the best RPM out of the aircraft. And we're still climbing. We're starting to get closer to the course, and so let's just command the nav mode so that we intercept that course a little faster.
2.4 mile.
So that we intercept that course a little quicker, and once we intercept, we'll be in good shape. I'm almost there for my altitude, so I'm gonna command it to hold at 6,000 feet, and there we go. Okay, so we got altitude hold enabled, making our turn, trying to get to about 6,000 feet there. Let's speed up things a little bit, just so that we can go a little faster.
(168 Yankee) clear of runway 29 at hotel, ready to taxi to parking.
November 68 Yankee taxi to parking via Alpha, monitor ground.
Taxi to parking bar Alpha.
Yeah, let's keep it at 2,500 RPM. That should give us, fairly decent airspeed, about 105-ish knots. Not too
November
bad.
39er Whiskey, contact Lindbergh Tower.
Over to Tower 353 Whiskey.
We've got a bit of a headwind, so the ground speed's actually a little.
Lindbergh Tower, Cherokee 3, Passenger Whiskey on the localizer 27 information, Sierra.
November 3539er Whiskey, Lindbergh Tower, runway 27, clear to land.
Runway 27, clear to land, 353 and Whiskey.
Right now we're literally flying right over El Monte Airport. Wonder if I could see it from here. Maybe not. You can see the 10 freeway. We're a little south of the airport, so you're seeing the 10 freeway right under my my strut there, and then towards the top of my strut, or the top of the window, what you're seeing is the 60
November 5
freeway.
Charlie Romeo, contact SoCal approach 134.2.
134.2 for Charlie, 5 Charlie Romeo. Okay, 134.2 on the comm. SoCal approach, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, 6000 level.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, SoCal approach, the Burbank altimeter 2981.
2981, 5 Charlie Romeo. Okay, we got the altimeter.
November 63 Kilo, contact Las Vegas approach 125.47.
Okay, at this point all we're doing is literally just going to be flying straight. It's a long straight flight to the west essentially, or west-northwest, heading towards Camarillo. Should be coming to Perms very soon.
Las Vegas, November 2363 Kilo, this Charlie, requesting visual 26 left.
November 2363 Kilo, Las Vegas approach, say altitude.
1000, 2363 Kilo.
November 63 Kilo, Las Vegas approach, unable 26 left, expect visual approach, runway 19er left.
19 left, 2363 Kilo.
Once we get close to Van Nuys, we'll try and get the ATIS at Camarillo. At this point, I think you might get it, but it might be a little feeble, but let's see. I mean, and it's also a little too early, but what the heck.
5005.
Yeah, it's kind of noisy. Might as well just wait. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this recording for a little while because it's probably going to just be boring for the next few minutes, and then we'll kind of come back as we get closer to getting our clearances and stuff like that. Alright, so while we were paused, ATC actually came online and gave me a vector to Camarillo Airport, which basically takes me on a heading of 260. I ended up requesting the RNAV Zulu approach into Camarillo, which they said to expect. And so here we are, we've turned left to a heading of 260, and we are continuing on our way to Camarillo. What I'm going to do now is again pause because we're going to be sitting there just waiting for us to get close to Camarillo. There's still a little bit of time, so, you know, let me pause and then I'll come back to you guys as we get a little closer. Alright, so while we're waiting here for ATC and, well, while we're waiting to fly close to Camarillo, let's brief the approach. So this is the RNAV GPS Zulu runway 26 approach to Camarillo, and it's valid up to 18th May, so it's still valid as of today. The approach course is 257. ATIS we've already got programmed in 126.025. Let me switch to the for-flight screen so that you can actually see what I'm talking about. So anyways, ATIS is already programmed in. It's 126.025. We've got Point Mugu approach control, which I don't know, whatever ATC decides to switch me to, Camarillo Tower and all of that. The approach begins here at Suana, and if you look at my approach plate, what you'll see is we're going to essentially pass a little south of Suana at our present heading, and that's fine because they'll probably just get me into one of these intermediate fixes and then start the approach. You basically cross Jurex here at 4,000 feet and then descend down via Hokiv, which is where we are going to get the glide slope intercept at 2,800 feet, and then all the way down to 327 feet on the LPV. That's my decision altitude, 327 feet, which is 250 feet above the runway. I'm sorry, 320, yeah, exactly. It's 250 feet above the runway. What we can expect is that's the approach that they've told us to expect. And at Hokiv, you've got a glide slope intercept, and remember this is an LPV decision altitude because the LPV approach is a localizer precision approach with vertical guidance. So it's pretty much like flying an ILS in the sense that you have both a localizer that gives you lateral guidance as well as a glide slope that gives you vertical guidance and takes you towards the runway. Pretty much like a precision approach. Technically, this is not considered a precision approach by the FAA, so you can't use it as a precision approach when you're looking at it from filing your alternates and stuff like that. But that being said, everything else pretty much works the way it should be, you know, it pretty much works the way an ILS works, except it's all done through the magic of GPS. All right, so we're continuing to fly down here. We will assume that we're going to end up at somewhere between Suana and Jurex, but for now we're at 6,000, we're flying, life's looking good. We are getting close to the approach, probably about 15 to 16 miles from the approach. So maybe it's about time that we actually got the ATIS.
November 63 Kilo, turn left heading 360.
Left 360, 363 kilo.
All right, so let's get the ATIS at Camarillo.
Ceiling 500 overcast. Temperature 14. Dew point 13. Altimeter 2983. Arriving and departing runway 26. RNAV runway 26 approach in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Romeo. Camarillo Airport. ATIS information Romeo. 0255 Zulu. Windcom. Visibility 5. Mist. Ceiling 500 overcast. Temperature 14. Dew point 13. Altimeter 2983. Arriving and departing runway 26. RNAV runway 26 approach in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information.
Okay, so we got the ATIS here at Camarillo. We've got 500 overcast layer. So let's go back to our approach plate and see what the minimums are. Well, the minimum So the minimum here is basically all the way down to 327. So far so good, I guess. Okay, let's go back to our main window here. We're still on our heading, getting close to Suwana. We've got some traffic. If you notice very carefully, they've injected some traffic, and we could...
November 5 Charlie Romeo, clear direct Suwana, cross Suwana at 4,000, cleared RNAV Zulu, runway 26 approach.
Cleared direct Suwana, cross Suwana at 4,000 and cleared RNAV Zulu 26 approach into Camarillo. And we have information Romeo at Camarillo, 5 Charlie Romeo.
November 5 Charlie Romeo, roger.
Okay, so we were cleared direct Suwana, so let's basically go there. And let's just do direct to Suwana and activate that. And we will go nav here. We've got a direct track of 287, which seems about right, to Suwana. He wants me to cross Suwana at 4,000, so let's start a descent now. It's about time, you know, let's start a descent. About 800 feet a minute seems about right. I've got some traffic 1,500 feet below me that I can see here on the GPS. But let's hope that ATC gets them out of the way. Okay, so I'm not sure if I was muted so far, so I'm going to try this again. So we've gotten cleared to Suwana, cleared for the RNAV Zulu approach into Camarillo. They gave us a crossing restriction of 4,000 at Suwana, which seems about right. So I've initiated a descent. I've also started. I've also gone direct to Suwana on the GPS, and here we are. We're getting up. We're about 6 miles, 7 miles from Suwana. We've got about 200 feet to go on the altitude, and we will level off at 4,000. Okay. There we are. We're at 4,000. On my GPS, um, I've got the approach activated, and that's what I'm going to follow in. And because the weather says there's a 500 overcast layer, we should expect to break out of it before we get to the missed approach point. So let's see how that goes. So far, so good. Also, we know that my approach course is 257, so once we cross Suwana, we will essentially go down to, we'll change to a heading or an approach course of 257.
November 63 Kilo, Las Vegas Airport, 11 o'clock, 4 miles apart site.
Yeah, the field is inside 363 Kilo.
You can see the traffic in front of us that's flying left to right.
November 63 Kilo, turn base abeam the stratosphere, cleared visual approach, runway 19er left.
Turn left abeam stratosphere and clear visual approach 19 left 363 Kilo.
Okay, about a mile from Suwana.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, contact point Magoo approach 124.7.
124.7, 285 Charlie Romeo. Point Mugu approach, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo is on the is just outside of Suwana.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, point Magoo approach, say altitude.
We're at 4,000, 285 Charlie Romeo.
November 5 Charlie Romeo, roger. November 63 Kilo, contact Las Vegas Tower 118.75.
Over to Tower 363 Kilo, thank you. Las Vegas Tower, November 2363 Kilo, visual approach 19er left.
November 2363 Kilo, Las Vegas Tower, runway 19er left, cleared to land.
19er left, cleared to land, 2363 Kilo.
All right, so we're basically flying now between Suwana and Jurex. 4,000 feet is what we need even at Jurex. We're anyway clear on the approach. So once I cross Jurex, I'm going to start descending 3,300 at Okasi and 2,800 at Hokiv, at which point I will intercept the LPV glide slope and follow it all the way down to 327 feet to the runway. So what's really nice about, so here, let's switch to the GPS window. And what's really nice about the GNS or the GTN750 is just how easy it is. You can see the approach plate right on the chart. And what's even better about PilotEdge is the fact that you can see all the traffic that they've injected. And here you can see this target that's sort of to behind me, my 6 o'clock, about just at about 300 feet below me. Which is interesting, and then there's another target to the right of me at about 600 feet below me, which is, it's really cool. I mean, just the realism that we get through PilotEdge. All right, let me switch back now to the front view, and kind of get focused here. So we're heading to OKC, and we've got a direct track of 259 for that one. And let's start a descent, because we got to descend now. We got to get to 3,300 feet at OKC. We got about 3-ish miles, 2.5 miles to go. I think we could do it. I'm gonna try and cut the power a little bit, and get a notch of flaps in. So that we slow ourselves down, increase our rate of descent, and then when we get to OKC at 3,300, life will be good. And then we need to continue down to 2,800 at Hokiv, which is our glide slope intercept. Okay, so we're almost at OKC. We got about 80 feet to go, and we're about 1.2 miles away. So let's hold altitude here, give it a little bit of gas. I think we're pretty much in the clouds at this point, so cool. We're holding altitude at 3,300. As soon as we cross Okisi, I'm going to descend further. Let me get the Camarillo tower 128.2 into my standby here. Okay, we are at Okisi, and I can descend to 2,800. Almost at Okisi. We got 0.2 miles to go. Okay, so let's start descending to 2,800 feet. On the G5, you can notice the glide slope starting to come in. We're a little low on the glide slope, which is fine. And we always want to intercept a glide slope from below, although in the case of a GPS glide slope, I'm not certain that actually makes sense. For an ILS, you would definitely try to intercept the glide slope from below. 300 feet to go here on the approach. And sorry, no, we need to go down. Yeah, we need to go down a little bit more. 2,800 is what we wanted. So we're at 2,900, 100 feet to go, 2,880. And 2,800, holding altitude now. Let's get a little bit of airspeed there. And we will...
November 5 Charlie Romeo, contact Camarillo Tower.
Over to Camarillo Tower, 5 Charlie Romeo. Camarillo Tower, Skyhawk 285 Charlie Romeo, 2,800 outside Hokiv on the GPS Zulu runway 26 approach.
November 285 Charlie Romeo, Camarillo Tower, runway 26, cleared to land.
Runway 26, cleared to land, 285 Charlie Romeo. Okay, let's get ground control programmed into our GPS on the standby. So we've got that. All right, so we are at Hokiv, almost. Let's put the GPS into approach mode. We've got a glide slope. We want to initiate a descent. And now that we have a glide slope, let's just start following that glide slope in.
pass delta below in 3 point.
Okay, so we're gradually descending. We're more or less on the glide slope, which is good. In the approach mode, and we have LPV, which means we have guidance here. Little below glide slope, I'm correcting. Slowing down the rate of descent just a tad. Let's see, hoping to capture the glide slope back.
Las Vegas Tower, November 2363 Kilo, clear of runway 19 left at Sierra.
November 2363 Kilo, say parking.
Just parking straight ahead, thank you.
November 63 Kilo, taxi straight ahead to parking, remain this frequency.
Parking straight out, remain on frequency 363 Kilo.
We're doing about 80 knots, which is reasonable for a Skyhawk coming in on an approach. We're on the localizer, well, the lateral guidance. We're almost on the glide slope, getting a little high on glide slope there, but I'll hold it for another moment till we kind of correct. And we're right in the clouds as they predicted, you know, and we're going to see those clouds for a little while longer, so it's fine, we'll just keep going. We're still not at our missed approach point, so we're good to go. Yeah. I got another 4 miles before I get to my missed approach point. And I've got about, well, let's just say 1,100 feet to go, give or take. Okay, we're kind of out of the clouds. You can see the freeway in front of us with a lot of traffic, as it always happens in Los Angeles when, or in Southern California when it rains or is cloudy. So, well, not surprised by all that traffic in front of us. But yeah, we're kind of breaking out of the clouds. We still don't have the runway in sight, but we'll get there.
Mile final runway 26.
Okay, starting to break through those clouds a little more. Starting to search for those approach lights. I've got about 400 feet to go, so, well, those lights better show up soon.
$500.
Okay, I can see the runway lights straight ahead. We're good to go. We're not yet at our minimums. I mean, we can go a little further, so I'm going to keep going. We've got another 300 feet to go anyway to get to minimums, or 250 feet. Yep, we've got the approach lights in front of us, so all good. And we still have 200 feet to go on the approach, so let's keep going on the approach. We're a little high on that glide slope, so I'm gonna, you know, get us down a bit, but and kill the autopilot, and let's just take it down manually now. Get a notch, second notch of flaps in, third notch of flaps in, and trim. Don't want to get too slow. Add a little bit of power there. Back on that visual glide slope. Perfect. We've got our runway in front of us. Okay, let me see if I can exit at Bravo.
November 5 Charlie Romeo, taxi to parking via Bravo, monitor, correction, taxi via parking via Bravo Foxtrot, monitor ground.
A taxi to parking via Bravo Foxtrot and monitor ground, 5 Charlie Romeo. Okay, so we've got ground here. I'm going to basically get ground on the second nav. And we will monitor that. Get my flaps up. Lean the mixture a little bit, get the strobes off, we'll leave the nav and the landing light and the beacon on, and then he asked me to go via Bravo Foxtrot. Okay, cool. That's a hotel right in front of us, but we'll keep going to Foxtrot. And at this point, I'm just going to park straight ahead. We're on Foxtrot at this point, but we'll just go ahead and park straight ahead. Why not near the fuel pit? Because it seems like just about a good place to park as any. And that, my friends, is a simple IFR flight from El Monte to Camarillo. We basically requested tower on route control. We file and essentially we put that into the GPS, and here we are flying to Camarillo, just taxiing over and parking. In my next episode, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'll probably try and do some kind of IFR flight, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll do one in actual IMC and have some fun with that. Thank you very much, and please, if you like my channel, please like it, please subscribe to it so that I can keep making more videos that you enjoy. Thanks a lot. Bye.